The moment the alien fleet's scanners locked onto the Earth warship drifting through the void, something deep inside their command system flickered with unease. The ship wasn't just a machine. It was a legend whispered among interstellar fleets, a weapon wrapped in mystery and fear. Commander Ryan Hale, the pilot and captain of that warship, didn't care much for legends. To him, it was just his ship and his crew, the last line of defense against the unknown. Ryan wasn't born into privilege or glory. He grew up in one of Earth's harshest colonies, where survival was a daily fight. His hands were calloused from years of hard work, his mind sharpened by endless drills and combat training. When Earth built this warship, nicknamed the Behemoth by its enemies, it was designed to be the ultimate symbol of human resilience and ferocity. And Ryan was chosen to command it, not because of political ties, but because he had earned every inch of that seat with sweat and blood. The alien fleet was confident. Their ships swarmed around the Behemoth like sharks sensing easy prey. Their scans, filled with advanced tech and cold logic, revealed something unexpected. The Earth warship was unlike anything they had ever seen. Layers of adaptive armor, weapon systems that seemed almost alive, and a core energy signature that defied their understanding. It wasn't just a warship. It was a monster waiting to awaken. Inside the Behemoth, Ryan paced the bridge with quiet determination. His crew moved like a well-oiled machine, all eyes on their captain. They had been trained for this moment, the moment when humanity's true strength would be tested. The tension was thick, but Ryan's voice cut through it, steady and commanding. "We don't back down," he said simply. "They think they've got us figured out, but they don't know what we're capable of. Ready the weapons. This ends on our terms." As the alien ships closed in, their scanners still trying to decode the warship's mysteries, Ryan felt a surge of something primal. It wasn't just technology that made the Behemoth deadly. It was the human spirit inside it, raw and relentless. The aliens had awakened a monster, but that monster was man, and man didn't back down. Ryan's eyes narrowed as the alien ships came closer, their eerie blue lights blinking like predators sizing up their target. The bridge hummed with tension, every crew member waiting for the captain's order. Ryan's hands gripped the controls, not because he needed to, but because it helped him focus. Years of training kicked in. His mind moved faster than the ship's systems could report. The aliens still didn't understand the Behemoth. Their scanners had picked up strange energy pulses, but none could decipher their meaning. Inside, the warship's core thrummed with a power unlike any in the galaxy, a fusion of cutting-edge human tech and something almost instinctive. It was as if the ship itself was alive, responding to Ryan's every thought and feeling. "Captain, they're preparing to fire," the weapons officer warned. "Missiles inbound from 3 directions." Ryan nodded sharply. "Activate the adaptive shield matrix. Target their command ships first. We break their nerve. We break their formation." The crew sprang into action. The Behemoth's shields flickered, shifting color from dull gray to a brilliant blue as they absorbed the incoming missiles. Ryan felt the ship vibrate beneath him. Each hit was like a punch, but the Behemoth held strong. The aliens were confident, sure their overwhelming numbers would crush the lone Earth warship. But they didn't know the price humanity had paid to get here. Every missile blocked was a reminder of the countless battles Ryan and his people had fought, and won. With a roar, the Behemoth's main cannons lit up, firing massive bursts of energy. The command ships in the alien fleet shuddered under the impact, their formations breaking apart like glass. Panic rippled through the enemy ranks. "Keep pushing," Ryan ordered. "Show them why they should fear waking a monster." In the middle of the chaos, Ryan's mind flicked back to his home colony, harsh, forgotten, but full of fighters who never gave up. That spirit was inside this warship. The aliens could scan all they wanted, but they could never understand what made humans truly dangerous. And Ryan, he was just getting started. The warship Behemoth hummed with controlled fury, its systems pulsating in perfect harmony with the rhythm of battle. Ryan Hale stood at the bridge's command console, eyes scanning the shifting holographic displays that mapped the alien fleet's movements. Despite the chaos around him, his mind remained sharp and clear, like a predator sizing up every possible move and counter. Outside the thick armored windows, a deadly dance unfolded. The alien ships swarmed like a dark storm, sleek and deadly, their hulls shimmering with foreign technology that no human engineer could have dreamed of. They were confident in their numbers and their advanced weaponry. They believed the Behemoth was a relic, a massive but outdated piece of human machinery that would fall under their firepower. They were wrong. Ryan's hand rested lightly on the edge of the command console, feeling the subtle vibrations of the ship's core. The Behemoth wasn't just a warship. It was the culmination of decades of human ingenuity, resilience, and something deeper. A spirit that no alien technology could replicate. The core energy signature was unlike anything in the galaxy, a powerful fusion reactor enhanced by an experimental quantum interface that linked the ship's systems directly to the captain's neural commands. It was this link that made the Behemoth truly terrifying. When Ryan thought, the ship responded instantly. It was as if the Behemoth had a mind of its own, one shaped by the fierce determination of its pilot. "Incoming missile swarm from the starboard flank," the weapons officer shouted. Ryan's gaze flicked to the holographic display, where bright streaks arced towards the ship. He barely had time to react before the missiles exploded against the Behemoth's adaptive shields, sending shockwaves through the hull. The shield matrix shimmered and changed hue, absorbing and dispersing the kinetic and energy blasts. "Shield integrity holding at 87%, reported the systems analyst. "Adaptive modulation is working, Captain." Ryan nodded, a faint, grim smile crossing his face. "Good. Let them come." On the tactical screen, the alien fleet faltered for the first time. Their confidence shattered as the Behemoth's retaliatory fire erupted. The ship's primary cannons, massive plasma beam weapons, discharged in precise bursts, each strike ripping through the enemy's command vessels. Explosions blossomed like deadly flowers in the void, sending debris and panic rippling through the alien formation. "Command ships hit! They're breaking formation!" the communications officer announced breathlessly. Ryan's voice was calm, but fierce. "Now's our chance. Deploy the interceptors. Target the fleeing units. Cut off their retreat." "Interceptors launched," confirmed the pilot. "Engaging." Small fighter craft burst from the Behemoth's hangars like swarming hornets, darting toward the scattered alien ships. The battle was turning. The alien commanders, once sure of victory, now scrambled to regroup, their confidence fading. Inside the Behemoth, the atmosphere was electric. Crew members worked with a practiced urgency, each performing their tasks flawlessly. Yet beneath the professional exterior, there was a shared fire, a belief that humanity was fighting for something greater than just survival. Ryan closed his eyes for a moment, the weight of command pressing down on him. This war was more than a clash of technology. It was a test of humanity's will. The galaxy had long underestimated Earth and its people, dismissing them as backward and weak. But every scar on Ryan's body, every hard-fought battle in his memory, told a different story. He thought about his home colony on the barren, wind-swept planet of Arden IV, a place where life was a daily struggle against brutal weather, scarce resources, and hostile neighbors. Yet, from that harsh soil, men and women like Ryan had risen, fighters forged in adversity, unyielding and proud. The behemoth was a reflection of that spirit. "Captain," the intelligence officer interrupted his thoughts. "We're receiving encrypted transmissions from the alien flagship. They're demanding an immediate surrender." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Reply that Earth does not negotiate with invaders. Prepare for their next assault." The alien fleet's desperation was palpable now. The flagship, a colossal vessel bristling with weapons and defenses, surged forward, its engines glowing with ominous power. It unleashed a barrage of particle beams and plasma torpedoes aimed directly at the behemoth. The shields flared, struggling against the overwhelming fire. The ship groaned as systems were pushed to their limits. Alarms blared, lights flickered, but the crew held firm. "Captain, hull breaches reported on decks 7 and 9, the damage control officer said urgently. "Fire teams are en route." Ryan clenched his fists. "Keep those breaches contained. We can't afford to lose the ship. Not now." He turned to the tactical display. The enemy flagship was charging a massive weapon, something far more destructive than anything they'd seen so far. The countdown was visible, a glowing red timer ticking down relentlessly. "Shields won't hold much longer against that," the weapons officer warned. "We need to disrupt their charge." Ryan made a split-second decision. "Divert all power to the forward cannons. Target their weapon systems. Fire on my mark." The crew responded instantly, redirecting energy, powering up the behemoth's massive plasma cannons. Ryan felt the ship respond like a living beast, gathering strength for a final blow. 3, 2, 1, fire! The forward cannons unleashed searing beams of energy that tore through the void, striking the alien flagship's weapon array. The massive gun exploded in a spectacular fireball, sending shockwaves through the enemy vessel. The countdown stopped abruptly, their ultimate weapon disabled. The alien fleet faltered once more, disoriented and vulnerable. The behemoth seized the opportunity, launching a coordinated strike that shattered their remaining forces. As the last alien ship fled into the darkness of space, Ryan allowed himself a moment to breathe. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. "Status report," he commanded. "Shield stable at 60%, the systems analyst answered. "Hull integrity at 72%. Casualties minimal." Ryan nodded, but his mind was already racing ahead. This victory sent a message to the galaxy. Earth was no longer a target for easy conquest. The behemoth had awakened something terrifying in the eyes of their enemies, a monster born not from cold machines, but from the relentless human will to survive and dominate. "Prepare for jump to Arden 4, Ryan ordered. "We need to regroup and repair, and we need to prepare for whatever they throw at us next." As the ship shifted course, Ryan allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. In the quiet hum of the behemoth's engine rooms, he thought about the cost of this fight, the lives lost, the battles ahead, and the legacy he was building. The galaxy had scanned Earth's warship, and they had indeed awakened a monster. But that monster was just getting started. The jump to Arden IV was smooth, the behemoth cutting through space with a quiet efficiency that belied the storm of battle it had just survived. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was a strange mix of relief and tension. The crew moved through the corridors with quiet purpose, repairing damage and preparing for the next inevitable clash. But in the captain's quarters, Ryan Hale sat alone, the weight of command pressing down on him heavier than ever. He stared out the viewport at the red and ochre surface of his home planet, a world scarred by harsh winds and barren deserts, yet stubbornly alive. Arden IV was a place that forged toughness in its people, and it had forged him. But even here, He knew the war was changing everything. A soft knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. "Come in," he said. The door slid open, and Lieutenant Mara Voss stepped inside, her face a mix of exhaustion and determination. Mara was his second in command, one of the few people who truly understood the burden he carried. "Captain, the engineering teams say the Corps needs another full cycle of diagnostics before we can push for full operational capacity," she reported. "The damage from that last volley was worse than we thought." Ryan nodded slowly. "How long?" "2 days, at best. If we push it sooner, we risk a system failure." He let out a long breath. 2 days of vulnerability in the middle of enemy territory, but he had no choice. "We hold position here," he said firmly. "Send out recon drones. We need eyes on the enemy fleet. If they're planning a counterattack, I want to know about it before it hits." Mara hesitated, then nodded. "Understood, Captain." As she left, Ryan turned back to the viewport. The stars beyond seemed colder now, distant witnesses to the brutal war raging beneath them. The galaxy didn't just see the behemoth as a ship, it saw it as a symbol of human defiance, and that made it a prime target. He thought back to the reports from intelligence. The alien fleet wasn't just disorganized, it was desperate. Losing their flagship and suffering heavy losses had rattled their command structure. But desperation made enemies dangerous. A warning light flashed on his console, snapping him out of his reverie. A message was incoming, encrypted, with a signature he recognized immediately. It was from Earth Command. Ryan tapped the console, and the holographic display flickered to life, revealing the face of Admiral Kellis, a stern figure who embodied the military discipline of Earth's forces. "Captain Hale," Kellis began, his voice sharp but controlled, "your recent engagement has sent shockwaves through the Council. The behemoth's performance exceeded expectations, but it has also drawn significant attention from hostile factions. Your current position on Arden 4 is vulnerable." Ryan leaned forward. "Admiral, I'm aware of the risks. We're conducting repairs and gathering intelligence. What's the Council's directive?" Kellis's gaze hardened. "We want you to prepare the behemoth for a strategic offensive. Intelligence suggests the aliens are regrouping near the Helios expanse, planning to launch a full-scale invasion of Earth's outer colonies. Your mission is to strike first, disrupt their plans before they can." The weight of the task settled on Ryan's shoulders like a mountain. "Understood. I'll make preparations immediately." Before the transmission ended, Kellis added, "Captain, this operation will be covert. We cannot afford another full-scale battle out in the open. Use the behemoth's unique capabilities to your advantage. The galaxy fears what they don't understand, and that fear is your greatest weapon." The message cut off, leaving Ryan alone with his thoughts once again. He stood and paced the room, the familiar hum of the ship's core echoing in his mind like a heartbeat. The behemoth was more than just a weapon. It was a living testament to humanity's refusal to be erased. His fingers brushed over a worn photo tucked inside his jacket, a picture of his family from Arden 4, simple faces full of hope and grit. They were his anchor, the reason he fought. Outside the quarters, the ship vibrated softly as engineering teams worked tirelessly. Ryan knew every second counted. The aliens would not rest, and neither would he. The next hours passed in a blur of strategy meetings and system checks. Mara joined him on the bridge, her expression grim but resolute. "We've detected multiple unknown signals near the Helios expanse," she reported. "Could be a staging ground." Ryan nodded. "Prepare the cloaking systems. We go in dark. No sensors, no transmissions. We hit fast and hard, then disappear before they even know what happened." The ship's artificial intelligence, a sleek voice named Athena, chimed in. "Cloaking systems operational, Captain. All sensor arrays are offline. We are a ghost." A faint smile touched Ryan's lips. Good. Let's remind the galaxy why humanity is the monster they fear. The behemoth slipped silently through space, its silhouette barely visible even to the most advanced sensors. As they neared the Helios expanse, tension built on the bridge. The alien fleet was there, massive and ominous, gathering in the shadows like a swarm waiting to strike. Ryan studied the tactical maps, plotting a course through the fleet's weakest points. His mind raced with possibilities. Every move could mean victory or death. Suddenly, Athena's voice broke the silence. "Captain, sensors detect an incoming transmission. It's not encrypted. They want to communicate." Ryan frowned. "Put it through." A distorted alien voice filled the room, cold and mechanical. "Earth vessel Behemoth, your defiance is noted but futile. Surrender now and we may consider mercy." Ryan's eyes burned with defiance. "Mercy is for the weak. We are not afraid of monsters." The transmission ended abruptly. Mara's voice was tense. "They're baiting us." "Good," Ryan replied, voice low. "We'll give them a show they won't forget." He stood, the weight of the moment settling over him. "Prepare for assault formation. Target their command clusters. This ends tonight." The behemoth surged forward, engines glowing with raw power. The alien fleet responded with a deadly barrage, but the ship's adaptive shields held strong. Energy weapons sliced through the void, and plasma cannons roared to life, tearing apart enemy vessels. The battle was fierce and brutal, each side trading blows in a deadly ballet. The behemoth's unique systems gave humanity an edge. Its quantum-linked controls allowed Ryan to maneuver and strike with precision no other pilot could match. As ships exploded and debris scattered, Ryan found himself locked in a deadly duel with the alien flagship's commander, a towering figure whose ship radiated power and menace. The two warships circled, exchanging devastating fire. The flagship's weapons were powerful, but slow and cumbersome compared to the behemoth's agility. Ryan's mind was razor-sharp, guiding the ship through tight turns and rapid strikes. He focused on the flagship's weak points, exploiting every opening. Suddenly, the flagship unleashed a massive pulse weapon, an explosion of energy that rocked the behemoth violently. "Damage report," Ryan barked. "Engine systems at 50%. Shields down to 30, came the reply. Ryan gritted his teeth. The behemoth was wounded but still fighting. "Divert all power to engines and weapons. We finish this now." The ship responded, surging forward with renewed energy. Ryan locked onto the flagship's bridge and fired a concentrated plasma barrage. The blast struck true, breaching the enemy ship's defenses. The flagship shuddered and faltered. With a final, furious maneuver, the behemoth rammed the crippled vessel, sending shockwaves through both ships. The alien flagship exploded in a blinding fireball, scattering debris across the void. Silence fell. Ryan stared at the battlefield, scarred and smoldering, but victorious. "Status?" he asked. "Shields critical but holding. Systems stable. Enemy fleet in retreat." Ryan allowed himself a long breath, the adrenaline slowly fading. Mara approached, her expression a mix of pride and exhaustion. "You did it, Captain," she said softly. Ryan shook his head, voice heavy. "We did it. The behemoth is more than a ship. It's humanity's will made flesh. But this is only the beginning." As the ship limped away from the battlefield, Ryan looked to the stars, knowing the war would rage on. They had awakened a monster in the galaxy. But that monster was Earth, and it was hungry for survival. The behemoth drifted in the quiet shadow of Arden 4's atmosphere, its systems humming low as repair crews worked tirelessly through the corridors. The ship's wounds from the recent battle were fresh, hull plating scorched, power conduits sparking here and there, but the spirit inside the warship and its crew was far from broken. Ryan Hale stood on the bridge, staring out at the planet below. The sight of the dusty red deserts and jagged mountains was both comforting and a stark reminder of everything he was fighting for. This planet had shaped him, taught him what it meant to endure, to fight for every breath. His mind replayed the battle over and over. The alien fleet had been relentless, but the behemoth had been relentless too. They'd hit hard, struck fast, and above all, survived. But the cost was clear. This war was far from over. The enemy wasn't just a distant force. They were a persistent shadow that would follow him into every star system. The door hissed open, and Mara Voss entered quietly. Her face was streaked with soot and exhaustion, but her eyes held that familiar, fierce determination. "Captain," she said, voice low, "engineering reports are in. The core diagnostics came back clean. The ship can operate at full power again, but only for limited periods. We'll need to cycle it carefully." Ryan nodded. "Good work. What about the crew?" "Morale is holding," she said. "They believe in this ship, and in you, but everyone's tired." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "We all are, but that's the price of war. We have to stay sharp. The aliens will come back." Suddenly, Athena's voice cut through the room, calm and precise. "Captain, I am detecting an unknown signal originating from the surface of Arden 4. Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Unknown? What kind?" "Energy signature is faint but consistent. Not natural. Possibly a distress beacon or a hidden facility." Mara's brow furrowed. "Could it be a trap?" "Maybe," Ryan said quietly. "Or it could be something valuable, something the aliens don't want us to find." He made a decision. "Prepare a scout team. I want eyes on the ground, no risks, no heroes." Within the hour, Ryan stood on the command deck, watching as a small shuttle detached from the behemoth, cloaked and silent, slipping toward the planet's surface. The shuttle's crew was hand-picked, experienced soldiers and scientists ready for anything. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. Then Athena spoke again. "Shuttle has landed. Scouts report an underground structure, partially buried beneath the desert sands. Initial scans indicate alien technology, possibly a research outpost or weapons cache." Ryan's pulse quickened. "Send me the shuttle's feed." The holographic display flickered to life, showing grainy images of a sprawling complex carved into the rocky terrain. Walls covered in strange symbols, towers that hummed with unseen power. "Get me a team ready for extraction," Ryan ordered. "I'm going down." Mara's eyes widened in surprise. "Captain, this mission is dangerous. The surface isn't secure." He met her gaze steadily. "If we don't know what's here, we can't win this war. I'm going to find out what secrets they're hiding." She nodded reluctantly. "Understood. We'll prep the landing zone." As the shuttle touched down on the red soil, Ryan felt the familiar rush of adrenaline. The planet was quiet, the wind kicking up clouds of dust around them. The scouts moved swiftly, scanning for traps and ambushes. The entrance to the underground base was guarded by heavy alien machinery, metallic doors covered in glowing runes. Ryan's fingers brushed over the control panel, feeling the hum of alien tech beneath his touch. With a hiss, the doors slid open, revealing a dark corridor lit by eerie, pulsating lights. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and something faintly metallic. Inside, the team moved cautiously. The walls were lined with strange devices, machines that looked like they could manipulate energy itself. Screens flickered with alien data, indecipherable but clearly important. Then they found it. A chamber filled with rows of pods, each housing a dormant figure. The shapes were humanoid, but with features twisted by some unknown process. The pods emitted a low hum, and wires connected them to a central console pulsing with power. Ryan stepped closer, his heart pounding. "What is this?" One of the scientists tapped furiously at a portable translator. "Unknown species, possibly engineered or experimented on. The technology is advanced, beyond anything we've seen." A sudden noise echoed through the chamber, an alarm triggered by their presence. "Trap!" Ryan shouted. "Fall back!" The team sprinted back toward the entrance as the doors began to close, locking them inside. Red lights flashed, and the chamber began to shake violently. "We're not alone," Mara's voice crackled over comms. "Enemy ships detected entering Arden 4's atmosphere. They're coming for you." Ryan's mind raced. They were trapped underground, enemies closing in from above. But the pods, they might hold the key to turning the tide of this war. "We fight," he said simply. "This planet made me. I won't let it take us now." As the behemoth's guns roared above, engaging the incoming alien fleet, Ryan and his team prepared to face whatever horrors the underground base held. Because in this war, humanity's greatest strength was not just in machines or weapons. It was in their unbreakable will to survive and fight back. The underground chamber trembled beneath their feet, the harsh red emergency lights casting long shadows over the rows of alien pods. Ryan Hale's breath came steady, but his mind was racing faster than ever. They had stumbled onto something far bigger than a mere weapons cache. These pods, whatever they were, held secrets that could shift the entire war. Behind him, the team was tense, weapons ready, eyes darting toward every shadow. The narrow corridor was silent, but for the distant rumble of the battle raging above ground. Ryan's comm crackled with Mara's voice, urgent but steady. "Captain, the behemoths engaged with the alien reinforcements. They're holding, but it's getting worse. You need to hurry." Ryan glanced at the glowing console in front of the pods. Alien symbols flickered in a strange rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. His hand hovered over the control panel, uncertain. "Any idea how to deactivate this lockdown?" he asked the scientist beside him. She shook her head. "Not yet. This tech is unlike anything we've seen, but I'm working on it." Suddenly, the humming from the pods intensified. One pod's glass surface started to ripple, like water disturbed by a stone. Inside, the dormant figure stirred, a form wrapped in bioluminescent veins, with eyes snapping open that gleamed with an unnatural intelligence. Ryan stepped back sharply. "Everyone, weapons up!" The pod hissed open, releasing a sharp, sterile mist that filled the chamber. The figure stepped out with unnatural grace, its movements fluid but undeniably alien. Its gaze locked on Ryan, cold and assessing. The creature's voice echoed in their minds, a direct mental projection, skipping language barriers. "You trespass on forbidden ground. State your purpose." Ryan steadied himself, his own voice firm despite the shock. "We're here to end your war, to protect our home and our people." The alien's eyes narrowed. "Your war? This conflict predates your species. You awaken forces you cannot control." Behind the alien figure, other pods began to hiss open. More creatures emerged, equally otherworldly and imposing. The team tightened their formation, but none fired. Ryan held them back. "Wait," he said. "What forces? What's really happening here?" The alien looked at the group, then back at Ryan. "This planet is a prison. The pods hold ancient warriors, beings forged to contain a darkness beyond your understanding." Ryan's mind reeled. "You mean the enemy?" The alien's voice softened slightly. "Not the enemy you fight. Something older. Something that once consumed galaxies." As the weight of those words settled in, the chamber trembled again, stronger this time. The alien warriors tensed, eyes flicking to the control console. "You must leave," the alien warned, "or be consumed by what you have disturbed." Ryan swallowed hard, but shook his head. "We can't just run. If this darkness is real, it changes everything. We need to understand it." The alien studied him, then nodded slowly. "Very well. I will show you." The chamber shifted, and suddenly the walls dissolved into a swirling vortex of light and shadow. Ryan found himself standing in a vision, an ancient battlefield strewn with stars and shattered worlds. Dark tendrils of energy snaked across the void, swallowing everything in their path. "This is the Abyss," the alien explained, "a force of pure destruction sealed away long ago by those in these pods. They are the Guardians, bound to watch and wait." Ryan felt a chill in his bones. The war they fought was only a symptom of a greater threat, one that could consume them all. The vision faded, and the chamber returned to normal. The alien warrior faced him again. "You have awakened a monster, Captain Hale, but the true battle lies ahead." Ryan's jaw clenched. "Then we fight. We survive." At that moment, alarms blared through the base. Mara's voice came urgent. "Captain, enemy forces have breached the surface. You need to extract. Now." Ryan looked to the alien guardians. "Will you help us?" The leader nodded. "We will hold the darkness at bay, but our strength wanes. You must leave and prepare." Ryan didn't hesitate. "Team, fall back to the shuttle. Move fast." The squad raced through the corridors as explosions rocked the facility. Alien soldiers poured in, their weapons blazing. The Guardians fought alongside Ryan's team, their otherworldly powers turning the tide. The shuttle's engines roared as they lifted off, just as the base collapsed behind them in a storm of fire and debris. Back on the behemoth, the crew cheered as the shuttle docked safely. Ryan's mind was heavy with new knowledge, and heavier still with responsibility. The galaxy wasn't just at war with an alien fleet. It was on the brink of something far worse. And the behemoth, with all its firepower and spirit, was humanity's best hope. Ryan stared out at the stars again, feeling the monster inside the warship and inside himself, ready to face whatever darkness lay ahead. The shuttle's hatch sealed behind Ryan as he stepped back onto the behemoth's cold metal decks. The familiar hum of the ship's systems was a small comfort, but the weight of what they'd uncovered on Arden 4 pressed heavily on his mind. The alien warriors, guardians of some ancient cosmic prison, had revealed a truth far larger and darker than the war he'd known. The Abyss wasn't just a myth or legend. It was real, and it was coming. Mara met him at the docking bay, her eyes sharp, reading the turmoil in his expression. "What did you find down there?" Ryan ran a hand through his hair. "Something worse than we imagined. The war with that alien fleet is just the surface. There's a force out there, ancient and destructive, something those alien pods were made to contain." Mara frowned, folding her arms. "If that's true, how do we fight it? We barely held against those fleets." He shook his head slowly. "We don't have a choice. We have to learn more. Prepare for a battle that could end everything." The crew gathered around the bridge, a buzz of whispered conversations filling the air. The behemoth wasn't just a warship. It was a beacon of hope. But hope needed weapons and strategy. Athena's calm voice cut through the tension. "Captain, I have located an ancient archive on a nearby moon. It appears to contain records related to the Abyss and the Guardians." Ryan's eyes lit up. "Plot a course. We go there next." As the ship accelerated toward the archive, Ryan took a moment to reflect. The Abyss had swallowed entire star systems. Its darkness was like a cancer spreading across the cosmos, and the alien fleet's attacks were likely a desperate attempt to distract humanity from the true threat. The journey was tense but uneventful. The crew focused on the mission ahead. When they arrived at the moon, it was a cold, barren place, scarred by ancient battles and covered in the remnants of forgotten civilizations. The Behemoth's landing party assembled. Ryan, Mara, a handful of soldiers and scientists eager to uncover lost knowledge. As they stepped onto the rocky surface, a chill wind cut through their suits, carrying whispers of the past. The entrance to the archive was hidden beneath layers of rock and ice, a massive door carved with symbols matching those on the pods from Arden IV. Ryan's heart pounded as they breached the door, revealing vast chambers filled with alien technology and data crystals glowing faintly in the dim light. Inside, the air was heavy with history. Holographic displays flickered to life, projecting images of star systems consumed by shadow, of battles fought eons ago, and of the Guardians' sacrifices to seal away the abyss. One crystal contained a star map dotted with red markers, locations where the abyss had breached its prison and devoured everything. "This is worse than we thought," Mara said quietly. "The abyss isn't just a threat to one species. It's a threat to all life." Ryan's gaze hardened. "We need to find a way to strengthen the seals, or better yet, destroy the abyss before it can break free again." The scientists worked feverishly, decoding the archive's secrets. Days passed in a blur of discovery and strategy sessions. Then, Athena's voice broke the silence. "Captain, incoming transmission from Earth Command." Ryan tapped the console, and Admiral Kellis's face appeared, his expression grave. "Hail, the Council has reviewed your findings. We are mobilizing every available fleet to prepare for a potential abyss incursion, but we need you to lead a coalition strike at the nearest breach site." Ryan nodded. "Understood. We won't let the abyss consume anything else." The mission was clear. Travel to the breach, defend the colonies at risk, and buy time for a larger plan to be devised. The Behemoth and its allies raced toward the designated system. Along the way, Ryan trained his crew relentlessly. The abyss was no ordinary enemy. It was a living darkness, shifting and corrupting everything it touched. As they approached the breach, sensors detected a creeping shadow spreading across a nearby planet's surface. The air grew thick with an unnatural cold, and communications went dark. The battle that followed was unlike any Ryan had faced. The abyss manifested as swirling storms of black energy that tore through ships and planets alike. It warped reality, making targeting systems fail and weapons misfire. Ryan pushed the Behemoth to its limits, coordinating with allied vessels to hold the line. The alien Guardians appeared again, arriving through dimensional rifts to aid the fight with powers that bent space and time. In the heart of the chaos, Ryan realized the warship's quantum interface was reacting to the abyss itself. The Behemoth wasn't just a weapon, it was a beacon of resistance, able to channel energy against the darkness. "Captain," Mara shouted over the din, "we can amplify the ship's core output through the quantum link. It might disrupt the abyss's hold here." Ryan hesitated, knowing the risks. Pushing the core too hard could destroy the ship and crew, but the alternative was worse. "Do it," he ordered. The ship surged with power, beams of pure energy blasting into the shadow storms. The darkness screamed, unraveling and retreating for a moment, but the victory was fragile. The abyss pulsed again, stronger and more violent. Ryan gritted his teeth. "Hold the line! We're not giving up!" The battle raged on. Human and alien forces united against a darkness that threatened to swallow them all. And through it all, Ryan stood resolute. The monster awakened not just inside the Behemoth, but inside every human heart fighting for survival. The battlefield around the breach was a chaos of light and shadow, a deadly clash where reality itself seemed to bend. The abyss was no ordinary enemy. It was a living nightmare, a swirling mass of darkness that devoured everything it touched. Ships vanished in the blink of an eye, swallowed whole by the black storms that crawled like fingers across the surface of the planet below. Rhea and Hale stood on the bridge of the behemoth, eyes locked on the tactical display. The swirling shadows flickered with eerie intelligence, shifting to avoid the concentrated blasts of energy from their weapons. The alien guardians, towering figures shimmering with cosmic power, fought valiantly alongside them, pushing back the darkness wherever they could. But even their incredible abilities were being stretched thin. "Captain," Mara's voice broke through the tension. "The Abyss is evolving. It's learning from our attacks, adapting faster than we predicted." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Then we have to be smarter. Athena, what are our options?" The ship's AI responded instantly. "Quantum interface levels are at maximum safe output. Increasing power further risks critical core failure." "Risks be damned," Ryan said. "We don't have time for caution. Prepare to push the core beyond limits. I want every last ounce of energy channeled into disrupting that abyss." The crew exchanged worried glances, but no one dared question the captain. The behemoth had survived impossible odds before. This time would be no different. As the ship surged with overwhelming power, beams of searing light tore into the shadow storms below. The darkness hissed in response, lashing out with tendrils of energy that scrambled sensors and crippled weapons. The battlefield shook as space and time itself seemed to ripple under the abyss's assault. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. Warning alarms screamed through the corridors. "Core integrity failing," the systems officer shouted. "We're venting plasma to stabilize the reactors." Ryan's grip tightened on the console. "Hold it together. We're almost breaking through." The quantum link between Ryan's mind and the ship flared, a torrent of energy connecting human will to machine might. For a moment, the darkness recoiled, as if wounded, flickering and shrinking under the relentless assault. Then came the roar. From the heart of the abyss emerged a shape, a colossal, writhing mass of shadow and malice, eyes glowing with malevolent light. The creature seemed to pulse with the power of the void itself, moving with terrifying speed toward the behemoth. "Guardian vessels, fall back," Ryan ordered. "Focus fire on that thing." The alien warriors unleashed their full might, cosmic energies colliding with the monster in a blaze of destructive force. But the creature absorbed the attacks, growing stronger with each strike. Ryan knew this was no ordinary foe. This was the abyss made manifest, a living nightmare come to consume everything. The behemoth's weapons locked on, firing concentrated blasts. The ship rocked from the creature's counterattacks, hull plating scorched and systems faltering. In the chaos, Mara shouted, "Captain, we can't hold much longer. We need a new plan." Ryan's mind raced. The abyss was a force of destruction, but it was also vulnerable to light, energy, and willpower. The behemoth's quantum core was their key, but pushing it harder would mean risking everything. "Activate the core's overload sequence," Ryan commanded. "We end this now, or we all die trying." The ship's AI hesitated, then complied. The behemoth began to glow with an intense, almost blinding light as energy built to catastrophic levels. "Evacuate non-essential personnel," Ryan ordered. "This is going to get rough." The alien guardians formed a shield around the behemoth, buying precious seconds as the core surged. With a final, deafening blast, the behemoth unleashed a wave of pure energy, a brilliant nova that ripped through the abyss's monstrous form. For a moment, silence. Then the creature let out a terrible, echoing scream before dissolving into nothingness, the shadows retreating like a nightmare fading at dawn. The battle was won, but the cost was high. The behemoth groaned, systems failing as the overload tore through its core. Lights flickered and died. The ship drifted, powerless. "Status report," Ryan demanded. "Critical systems offline. We're adrift," the engineer replied. Ryan looked around the bridge, his crew battered but alive, the alien guardians watching with wary respect. "We survived," Mara said softly. Ryan nodded, voice heavy. "For now. But the abyss isn't gone forever. We've only delayed the inevitable." As the behemoth floated in the vast silence of space, Ryan's thoughts turned to Earth, to his crew, and to the war that still lay ahead. They had awakened a monster, and now they had to learn how to live with it. The behemoth drifted silently through the void, its systems crippled and flickering under the strain of the core overload. The bridge was dim, emergency lights casting long shadows over the weary faces of the crew. Despite the victory against the abyss's monstrous manifestation, the cost had been devastating. The ship that once roared with unstoppable power now felt fragile, like a wounded beast barely clinging to life. Ryan Hale stood at the center of the bridge, his gaze fixed on the star-studded blackness outside. The galaxy seemed indifferent to their struggle, a cold and endless expanse that held secrets darker than any nightmare. He could feel the weight of leadership pressing down on him heavier than ever before. Mara Voss approached quietly, her steps soft on the metal floor. "Captain, the damage is worse than we thought. Core stabilizers are barely functional. If we don't get to a repair station soon, we'll lose the ship." Ryan nodded, his jaw clenched. "How far is the nearest station?" "Too far for our current speed," Mara replied. "We'll have to limp there, and even then, it's a risk." The thought of being stranded in hostile space sent a chill through Ryan's spine. The abyss might be defeated, for now. But they were vulnerable, exposed to enemies lurking in the dark. The alien fleet they had fought before would be quick to capitalize on their weakness. "Send out a distress signal," Ryan ordered. "We need help." As the crew worked feverishly to patch the ship's failing systems, Athena's calm voice filled the bridge. "Captain, we are detecting an approaching vessel. Unknown origin." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Identify it." The display flickered, revealing a sleek ship unlike anything they had seen, angular, black, with no visible markings. The ship moved silently, drawing closer with a deliberate purpose. "Open a channel," Ryan commanded, anticipation and caution intertwining in his voice. A crackling hiss filled the room, followed by a voice, cold, smooth, and unfamiliar. "This is Commander Velkara of the Nyrex Collective," the stranger announced. "We received your distress signal. Assistance is offered, but at a price." Ryan's expression hardened. "We're not interested in deals. We fight for survival, not bargains." Velkara's voice took on a chilling tone. "Survival requires sacrifice. The abyss threatens us all. Join us, or be left to perish." Mara leaned closer, whispering. "They might know more about the abyss. We could use allies." Ryan hesitated. The Nyrex Collective had a reputation, ruthless warriors and cunning strategists, but not known for loyalty or honor. "Tell them we'll hear their terms," Ryan said finally. As the Nyrex ship docked with the behemoth, tension thickened. The crew watched warily as Velkara and her entourage boarded the bridge. Her eyes gleamed with calculated intelligence, every movement precise and confident. "We propose a coalition," Velkara explained. "Our forces combined with yours can develop a weapon capable of permanently sealing the abyss." Ryan folded his arms. "And the price?" "Complete integration of your ship's quantum systems with our technology," Velkara said. "A partnership that will enhance your capabilities, but also give us influence over your war efforts." The room fell silent. Rishon knew the risk. The behemoth was his command, his people's hope. Giving control to outsiders could be dangerous. Yet, without help, they might not survive the next attack. Rian met Velkara's gaze steadily. "We'll consider your offer, but make no mistake, we answer to Earth first." Velkara smiled coldly. "Of course, Captain, for now." As she left, Mara whispered, "This changes everything?" Ryan nodded. "It does, but we're running out of time." That night, in his quarters, Ryan stared at the photo of his family. The war had already taken so much, but he knew the fight was far from over. The abyss was a darkness that could swallow them all. And now they had to navigate not only the enemy without, but the shadows within. The behemoth had awakened a monster. But to survive, Ryan knew he'd have to become something more. The corridors of the behemoth felt different now. Tense, charged with the quiet hum of unfamiliar technology integrated into the ship's systems. The Nyrex Collective's engineers worked alongside Ryan's crew, their sleek black uniforms a stark contrast to the rugged practicality of Earth's soldiers. The air buzzed with a mix of hope and suspicion. Ryan Hale stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the starfield ahead. The deal with the Nyrex had been accepted, but every step forward came with a price. The integration of their quantum systems had enhanced the behemoth's power, but it also meant sharing control. Sharing trust. Two things Ryan was reluctant to do. Mara approached, her expression grave. "Captain, the Nyrex liaison, Velkara, is requesting a meeting." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Send her in." Velkara entered smoothly, her presence commanding attention. Her eyes gleamed with cold calculation, but there was a flicker of something unreadable beneath her polished exterior. "We've completed the initial integration," she said, voice calm but firm. "The enhancements have increased your ship's core output by 37%. Your weapon systems now have a faster recharge rate, and your shield matrix adapts in real time to new threats." Ryan nodded, appreciating the tactical advantage but wary of the cost. "And the control interface?" Velkara smiled thinly. "Shared access. Your crew retains command authority, but we now monitor system health and can intervene if necessary. Think of it as insurance." Rian's eyes narrowed. "Insurance or control?" "The line between the two is often thin," she replied smoothly. "But it's necessary given the threat of the abyss. You understand, Captain, that the collective's survival is as important as yours." Mara exchanged a glance with Ryan, silent but clear. This alliance was a knife's edge. "We've detected increased abyss activity near the Vortex sector," Velkara continued. "Our scouts report that the darkness is spreading faster than before, consuming entire star systems." Ryan's fists clenched. "We'll need to strike before it reaches Earth's colonies." Velkara nodded. "Agreed. However, the abyss's nature has changed. It's learning, evolving in response to your attacks and our technology." Ryan leaned forward. "Then we adapt faster. What's your strategy?" Velkara's eyes gleamed with cold precision. "A combined assault. Your behemoth, our fleet, and the alien guardians we encountered. We push the abyss back and secure the breach points." Ryan hesitated. "The guardians?" "Yes," Velkara said. "They've agreed to join us, but they require assurances that humanity is committed to this war beyond just survival." Rian's mind raced. Trusting the Guardians had been difficult. Trusting Velkara and the Nyrex felt like walking a razor's edge. "We'll make the pledge," he said finally. "But we fight on our terms." Velkara inclined her head. "A wise decision." The meeting ended, but the weight of the alliance lingered. As the behemoth prepared for battle, Rian felt the monster within, the relentless human will, and the cold machine now intertwined with alien power. The next days were a whirlwind of preparation and tension. The combined fleet gathered at the Vortex sector's edge, massive ships from Earth, the Nyrex Collective, and the alien guardians forming a formidable force. The abyss's shadow loomed ahead, a dark stain spreading over the stars. The battle was brutal. The abyss lashed out like a living storm, twisting and warping space, corrupting weapons and minds. Ships vanished, swallowed by the darkness. But the behemoth, with its enhanced core and quantum-linked controls, cut through the chaos with deadly precision. Ryan fought not just the enemy, but the fear and doubt inside him. The Nyrex officers monitored every move, their presence a constant reminder that his ship was no longer solely his command. Amid the chaos, Velkara's voice came over the comm. "Captain, the Abyss is focusing on your position. They know you're the key." Ryan gritted his teeth. "Then I'll make sure they regret it." With Mara's support, he pushed the behemoth to its limits, firing volleys of plasma and quantum energy that shredded the darkness. The Guardians unleashed their powers, bending reality to contain the spread. Slowly the tide turned. When the Abyss finally retreated, the fleet held its ground. But the cost was staggering. Ships were lost, and the crew's weariness was etched deep. As silence fell, Velkara approached Rian on the bridge. "You've earned my respect, Captain. You fight with the heart of a monster." Ryan met her gaze, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "And you're not the enemy I expected." She smiled, a rare, genuine moment. "Perhaps we're more alike than either of us wants to admit." The war against the Abyss was far from over. But for the first time, there was hope. A fragile, dangerous hope born from uneasy alliances and the monster within. The behemoth floated quietly in the vast emptiness of space, battle scars etched deep into its hull, but its spirit unbroken. After the fierce confrontation in the Vortrex sector, the uneasy alliance between Earth's forces, the Nyrex Collective, and the alien Guardians held firm, at least for now. But beneath the fragile calm, tensions simmered, and the war with the Abyss remained a shadow over every star. Ryan Hale stood on the bridge, his eyes tired but resolute. The weight of command had aged him, carved lines of hard-won wisdom across his face. The monster the galaxy feared was no longer just a myth or a warship. It was the indomitable will of humanity, forged in struggle and tempered by sacrifice. Mara stood beside him, her expression softer now, marked by the countless battles and losses they had endured together. "We've bought time," she said quietly, "but the Abyss won't wait forever." Ryan nodded. "Number, we need a permanent solution, one that ends this darkness for good." Athena's voice broke the silence. "Captain, the data recovered from the alien archives and the Guardian's knowledge has been combined with Nyrex technology. We have developed a weapon system capable of sealing the Abyss's dimensional rifts permanently." The room filled with a cautious hope. "The weapon requires a massive energy source," Ryan said, "and the behemoth's core is the only one powerful enough. But deploying it means pushing the ship beyond its limits. We risk everything." Mara's eyes locked with his. "Then we fight like we always have. For Earth, for our people." The plan was clear. The behemoth, supported by the Coalition fleet, would lead a final assault on the Abyss's heart, the source of the darkness that threatened to consume the galaxy. As they approached the Abyss's dimensional rift, the void pulsed with malevolent energy, swirling shadows reaching out like hungry fingers. The battle began with a fury unlike anything before. The Abyss fought with desperation, warping space and time, attempting to engulf the fleet. Ryan's mind linked with the behemoth's core through the quantum interface, channeling every ounce of willpower and energy into the weapon system. The ship shone like a beacon, its light cutting through the darkness. The alien Guardians formed a protective barrier, their cosmic powers holding the Abyss's shadows at bay. "Now!" Ryan commanded. The weapon unleashed a blast of pure, concentrated energy that surged into the rift. The darkness screamed, twisting and unraveling as the dimensional tear began to close. The abyss's final roar echoed across the void before it was sealed shut, silent, empty, defeated. The fleet cheered, but the victory was bittersweet. The behemoth's core was critically damaged, and the ship would never be the same. Many lives had been lost, but a future had been secured. Rian looked to the stars, feeling the weight of the battle lift, replaced by a profound calm. "We've faced the monster," he said softly, "and we've won." Mara smiled faintly. "But it's our will that was the real weapon." As the Coalition prepared to return home, Ryan knew the galaxy had changed forever. Earth was no longer a quiet backwater. It was a force to be reckoned with, resilient, unyielding, a monster awakened in the vast darkness of space. And as long as humanity stood, the stars would never fall silent.